Welcome to the Love That For You podcast, where every week you're invited to dream big, laugh often, and celebrate the extraordinary stories of those who inspire. Your story matters, and I love that for you. I am so excited to announce a brand new sponsor for the podcast, Sort and Store. Okay, Erin is one of my very good friends. She started this company, Sort and Store, and I can personally vouch that they're amazing, not only because I see the work she does, but I have hired her personally to come into my home and help me organize multiple spaces. When I asked her what she wanted to share about her business on this podcast, here's what she said. Between running a business and two busy, sports-loving girls all over the state, I know firsthand how quickly clutter can become chaos. By creating long-lasting organizational systems that are easy to maintain, we've been able to create routines that make it easy to restore the peace and enjoy our home, allowing our family to spend more time doing the things that we love. At Sort and Store, we strongly believe your home should be your refuge and sanctuary, not your cause of stress. Our mission is to help busy families overcome the overwhelming spaces in their homes, giving back the time to spend on the things that matter most. Mention Queen City Connect or Love That For You when booking and receive $50 product credit to the Container Store to be used towards your session. Well, Jennie Casselman, you're here at the Love That For You podcast. How does it feel?
I love that.
I love it for you.
I love that for me. I love that for you.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. You've done so much. You're doing so much. We have been friends I don't know, since I've been back in Charlotte.
Several years now.
Yeah, probably three-ish, coming up on 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to have you kind of tell us a little bit about what you're doing now. And then I want to go back and talk a little bit just more of your story about how you got to where you are today.
It was colorful.
I love this. I love this.
Oh, yeah. So currently, right now, I'm really focused on my culinary stuff. So being everything from teaching classes. I teach cooking classes online for an online fitness program. I'm moving more into doing a lot of more content for people online via Instagram or other platforms, kind of working my way through that because there's so many options. But I've written several cookbooks, and I'm working on a kids cookbook, so my kids are getting more involved. They've always been involved in the kitchen with me, but I found myself really wanting to support parents and kids' childhood nutrition, because I have done a lot of work and research for my own kids, and it's challenging. And so I thought my experience, no matter what I do and end up doing in life, as long as it can be helpful to someone or encourage someone to navigate what it is to live a healthy lifestyle, then that's where all my energy is kind of going right now.
Yeah. I feel like the most successful people in whatever their job or career is that underlining, I just want to help somebody.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like the purest way to make sure you succeed, because if it's any other more surface level, well, I just want to achieve this, or I just want to be on this platform or doing this, those aren't bad goals. But if that's what you're basing your career on, you're probably going to be disappointed. But if it's coming at a perspective of like, what if it's actually not about me and how I can serve people with my life?
Yes, absolutely. I am focused solely on my purpose right now. And it's not monetarily, it's not numbers, it's not likes, it's not a material thing. It is God put me here, and I went through several ups and downs. I've had lots of colorful chapters in my life, some good, bad, and indifferent. But I know that I went through those things, and I overcame some really negative situations in my life. Yeah. So that I can come out on the other side and be like, oh my God, look, you can do this too. Yeah. Like that's the encouraging other people, inspiring someone to just take that step forward and to get out of their comfort zone, or to take that step forward and do the therapy, do the healing, to find out who it is that you are and what your purpose is, because nobody can take that away from you.
Right.
You know, you can't lose a job and be like, well, there went my purpose in life.
Right.
But that happens so many times. I never want to hang my hat, or excuse me, I don't want to hang my crown on someone else's hook. Because guess what? They can disappoint you, and most likely they will. You know, business deals gone bad, you lose a job, you break up a relationship. And if you put everything into other people and other situations, then you'll find yourself like, I don't have anything left.
Yeah.
And I've done that before.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Yeah. It's almost like you've just placed your identity in something that can be taken away. And of course, if it's then taken away, that is going to be crushing and heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
And you're going to question everything. But we can't do that. I want to read your bio. Says, I'm a wellness chef, nutrition coach, twin mama, and believer in being an overcomer, which you've talked about beautifully already. You say life happens, but it's what you choose to do after that makes the difference.
Absolutely.
Melanoma survivor, culinary student, IVF warrior, NICU graduate ×2.
Yes.
Bad relationships. Hey, we've all been there. Job loss, Gordon Ramsey. We're going to talk a lot about that.
Throw him in there.
A lot has been going on in your life. So this is so fun. When I met you, though, it was before, I mean, you very clearly have had a background of cooking and food and nutrition. But when I met you, it was not through that avenue.
No.
You were doing something completely different. So tell us about what you were doing.
Yeah, so when Morgan and I met, I had just lost my corporate job.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, so I had been, me and corporate America don't really jive.
I feel like most people say that about corporate America.
I think when you're creative and you have that entrepreneurial spirit, it's really hard to thrive when you're in a small, tiny little cubicle.
Yeah.
And you got your, sliver of the window that you get to see the outside world. I did it because I can do any job.
Right.
I can follow rules. I can do stuff. But I was not happy. And God said, let me go ahead and take care of that for you, because then COVID happened and they furloughed a large majority of our team. And at the time, my twins were 2.5, and I was working full time, taking care of my kids and, living life. So it was a lot. And so that was a blessing in disguise. I didn't think I ever wanted to leave corporate because it was my security blanket.
Okay.
It was a good, steady income. Yeah. We had great benefits.
Yeah.
I was on autopilot. I did not have to think much.
Yep. Just show up, get the work done.
And so I was like, okay, I'm focusing my energy on the kids. This works on autopilot. Nah, I don't care if it's not bringing me joy. And after about 6 months, I was like, I enjoy working. I need to do something else. I need an outlet. And I started watching videos. So during my postpartum, I was just watching videos online, rocking babies to sleep, feeding people. That was like my downtime. And I started watching resin videos. And I slowly became obsessed with resin art. And just my toxic trait is I think I can do everything. And so I tried it. And I just bought all the materials and started working in the garage.
Yeah.
But
you did it.
I did it. And I figured out that I was pretty good at it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. But it was 8 p.m. after the kids go to bed till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Occasionally, I get a babysitter so that I could work during the day. Yeah. But it turned into a business that I did not anticipate.
That's how it happens.
And I really wasn't even sure how to run this said art business. And people were asking, where do I find it? How can I buy it?
Yeah.
And okay, so let me figure this out and get it together. And I started doing pop-up events around Charlotte, and I met an incredible network of women.
Yeah, that's where we met.
Honestly, that's where you and I met, and I've met several other women that have their small businesses in Charlotte, and that was who my community turned into. And I saw them having families and young children and balancing the work-life mom commitment. And I was inspired by our female Charlotte community.
It's incredible.
And so that was really gave me the encouragement to be able to do it and to do more of it. Yeah. And I started working on some other projects. So that's about the same time as when I started doing cooking classes online for E2M Fitness. And I had such creative outlets. I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
I could never go back to corporate world again, because now I've had the opportunity to do all these creative, fun things. And this is what I like.
Yeah.
I make my own schedule. If my kids need me to stay home, I can stay home. If someone's sick, I'm like, can't make it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because they're always going to be my priority.
Right.
So the whole work-life balance thing is really ended up being, I'm my own boss, and I'll call the shots, and that's how you balance it.
Yeah.
Because somebody else calling the shots doesn't care about your personal needs so much.
And if they do, then you're in a really lucky scenario and stick with it. But for the most part, that's not the case.
No, not typically.
So going back, talking about resin, for people who are listening that are not familiar with what that is, give us a little brief description of how that works, what all is included in that.
Yeah, so resin / epoxy is kind of the same thing. They pour it on your garage floors. That's usually when people are like, what is this? I say, when you get your garage floors redone, that is epoxy. And ironically enough, my best friend works for a company that does that. So we've talked about, you need to do some pretty designs in your garage floor. But I started pouring resin on cutting boards. So I would just do really pretty cutting boards and display pieces and serving dishes. And I actually poured this weekend for the first time in several months. We had an ugly canvas that my husband, I think, picked up at the Goodwill. It had the cliche beach scene and the chair. I'm like, that's not really my vibe anymore. Yeah. So I poured resin over it. So I'm like, we're going to revive this piece and put it in the house. And I just reminded myself, just being able to express myself creatively, that's my outlet.
Yeah.
And so
I have one of your beautiful pieces upstairs.
You got a tray, didn't you? Yeah.
I got that really pretty. It's blue with gold, with gold speckles.
Oh,
I remember gold. I got it at the pop-up, and I got it before the pop-up started because I was like, if I don't buy this now, it will be gone by the end of the pop-up.
I was putting out all my stuff, and she was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, get it.
Yeah.
Get it.
It's beautiful.
Although it's probably not something that I'll get back into full time because I'm really honing in on the whole nutrition and cooking. But I had a thought the other day. I'm working with another chef, and we're going to do a farm to table series. And I thought, I should make some really beautiful display pieces to put on the table for dinner.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, should I just change this whole thing up and culinary artist?
I think you should just always have little pieces here and there for when you're doing your cooking and everything. It's
that.
You see that tray? I actually also made that.
Yep, I made that and your food.
Yeah.
And you're going to eat it, like it, and it's going to be good for you.
Yeah.
So.
Do you feel like at this point in your life, you're probably done with the selling of it and it'll just kind of be more like your fun creative outlet, or do you see yourself kind of doing both?
Hey, I never say never. My life has been turned upside down, and I've had some of the most incredible opportunities and situations that have come about.
Like going on TV. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, like Fox flying me to Ireland. I'm like, yeah, sure.
When was that?
That was when we filmed back in September.
That was in Ireland?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So when you say, do I ever see myself not doing something?
You're like, whatever. I take it a day at a time.
I am down. I am down for what? So
yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. So then at what point were you ready to make the transition to, okay, actually I'm really enjoying being in the kitchen and working with foods and stuff. I'm going to put resin aside a little bit and focus on this. What was that transition like?
That transition kind of happened when we started writing the cookbooks for the fitness group because I was in charge of that. And so that took up a lot of my time. And so I just found myself having a hard time getting that work done, and then also still fulfilling orders and promoting the business and doing pop-ups. And I was like, this is too much. I need to focus on one thing. And so I just kind of slowly faded on the whole resin art. And I didn't really say anything to anybody because I posted a story the other day whenever I was working on it at home. And I was like, should I? And it was like, yes. And I'm like, oh, so you guys did like that.
Yes. Oh, we love it. It was so funny because I feel like I got on Instagram one day and it was resin. And then just life happens and I get back on and I'm like, wait, she did a whole incredible photo shoot in her kitchen. She's in the chef wardrobe.
Now I'm Chef Jennie.
Now
Yeah.
she's Chef Jennie. Okay, talk to us a little bit about the whole fitness program, E2M Fitness, correct? Is
Yes.
that the name of it?
Yes.
Okay, what is that? How did that start?
So I actually joined as a member
Okay.
when I was postpartum, and I mean, it was 2 years. Like, postpartum is not like 5 weeks after you had the kids. Like, it can last for a long time. And for me, I was still struggling with losing a little bit of weight, but then I was also suffering from postpartum depression, and I did not know it. I didn't recognize it. I've never had, anxiety or depression or anything like that in my life. And so I didn't know what it was. I just knew that I was struggling.
Yeah.
And it took me creating this new routine in my life that prioritized my health, because I had 2 young children at home that I had to keep them alive.
Yeah.
So from the moment my eyes opened till they went to sleep for my little cat naps all night long, it was them. Yeah. And I had let myself get into, like, physically and emotionally and mentally, I was just a mess. And so that really helped me put things in perspective and value taking care of myself. Mm-hmm. Because, say, give yourself the air mask or the oxygen mask first, and, women and children. But it's seriously, like, if I didn't take care of myself, I was not going to be able to continue to pour into my children. Yeah.
You can't pour from an empty cup. Your cup has to be full in order to pour into others.
And it doesn't even, when that whole saying, it doesn't necessarily mean like I have to be completely fulfilled to take care of someone else.
Right.
No, but you do have
empty.
to, you can't be empty. It doesn't have to be overflowing. But what I've learned too is, like, what's in my cup is mine. It's for me. And what overflows and spills over is for everyone else. And I used to be the complete opposite. I was like, everybody else. We were talking about this before we started. And that came from my childhood of being a people pleaser. I grew up to be an adult people pleaser. In my jobs, in my relationships, I didn't want people to be upset with me about anything. Yeah. And now that I've had some therapy, lots of really good therapy.
Amazing.
To recognize that, I thought that was just my insecurities talking. Yeah. That has nothing to do with me just wanting everyone to be happy with me. Right. I thought if I didn't make them happy and they're not happy with me, then it's off. Yeah. And so I sacrificed a lot of my own personal desires and feelings to meet the needs of other people.
And the whole time we're all like, we love you for you. You don't have to think that you have to impress us or that we're not going to like you if you don't, you know?
Yeah. And
I bet that was so freeing when that hit you.
Oh my God, it just happened. Yeah. I mean, I'll be 42 next month, and it literally just happened in the last year. Yeah.
Wow.
It's like,
I'm so glad.
All the little pieces finally connected, and I identified what the root of some of my belief systems and my behaviors came from. And a lot of it stemmed from insecurity. And I finally said, you know what? You're right. Yeah. You're right, Jennie. Yeah. Like, you don't have to go above and beyond to make other people happy or secure, because guess what? They've got their own baggage that they're pulling into this relationship.
We're all on a level of insecurity. That's
everybody, because life happens. Everybody has life experiences that have chipped away at them, that have chipped away at their confidence, and who they thought they were as a person, their self-worth. And a lot of people, like we were saying, you put their do over their who, and your jobs and what you've done identified who you were as a person. And once you let go of that, then you realize, like, oh, really, there is nothing to focus on besides being true to myself, my purpose in life, and doing it 100% with no rules. Yeah. And that's where I feel like I am right now. I told my husband the other day, I was like, I feel like I finally cracked the code. Like, there's been like this combination lock on life, and I finally got it right. Yep. And now I'm like free. Yeah. From my own,
all right, now I can
just own restrictions.
Right, because that's the thing. It's like, it's not necessarily another person actually doing anything to you. It's yourself.
It's
and
nobody.
It's like, actually, we're going to tear down that wall, and we're not going to live life that way.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I kicked that wall down
Yeah.
aggressively,
Yeah.
like once I figured it out. And now I'm like, these are my boundaries. This is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. If it's not what you like or what you want, then Godspeed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine with me now.
I think,
and I used to bend and go, oh, well, I can do it this way.
Yeah.
I'll do it that way. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But no, not anymore. Now it's like,
yeah,
that's it.
I think someday when I was going to initially say have a podcast, but when you have your own TV show, what you should maybe name it is something along the lines of like what I bring to the table. Because then it's like,
that. Yes.
It's perfect.
Your food,
we're bringing food to the table, but we're also going to talk about some things.
Yes.
Let's what we're bringing to the table.
Let's serve it up.
That's the tagline. About to dish it out. I
Girl.
love that. Okay.
Thank you. Anybody listen?
Yeah. Yeah. No one take that. No one take that if
Ramsey
you're listening. That's
Production
ours.
Studios,
That's
anybody?
ours. Yes. Yeah. Gordon, you may call me. You may call me.
She's my manager.
100%. It started right now. What do I need to sign? Okay. Well, speaking of that, let's jump into this because, well, I wanted to say one thing really fast. I just think it's beautiful that it was in your lowest, deepest postpartum depression that you found this community and fitness that was healing for you, because I think someone could be listening and thinking, I am in that postpartum point right now. I can't imagine going out and doing something. I'm just trying to put clothes on when I get out of bed. And we're not saying you went out and like did something. It was just, you found what was comforting to you and what was healing to you.
I started each day.
And then that is what brought not only healing, but like a successful community and almost a whole nother purpose out of that.
Yeah.
That I just think could be so encouraging for someone. Is like, what do you enjoy in the season?
Yeah.
Go to that and just do a little bit of it every day and see if that helps.
And find people to connect with
Yeah.
that are also in that. And I think that's what makes E2M so unique, is because we do have that community aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody's going through the same thing at the same time. So it's relatable.
Okay.
And I feel like when you're kind of trying to figure things out on your own, you don't have a group or someone to relate to, then you kind of question, like, is this right? Am I doing this right? What am I doing wrong? And so I'd always enjoyed being active.
Yeah.
I've always had a gym membership and I've always done something active. But usually I struggle with doing something like working out at home. It's like sit down on the floor, do your abs, and you're like,
like actually.
So, but having that community aspect kept me motivated. And then being their chef, you know, they're looking at me to provide them with healthy meals. Yes. Yeah. But then when I'm also working out with them, you know, I'm not just talking. Yeah. I'm walking the walk. Yeah. And there's a difference between telling people you got to be healthy, you got to eat healthy, you got to do this, you got to drink your water, blah, blah. But when you do it and your results show I am doing what I say, then that gives you a whole nother level of credibility. Yeah. That nobody can take away from you.
Right.
I did the work. Yes, I did the work. It changed my body. It changed my mind. And I'm much happier now where I'm at in my life because I did the work.
Right.
The program is amazing, but you have to show up and do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's incredible.
Just do it.
Well, speaking of showing up and doing it, let's talk about how you went on a TV show. So you went on Next Level Chef with Gordon Ramsey.
I did.
We love him.
Wow.
So let's talk about it. Because I have never been on a TV show yet.
Yeah, neither had I.
And so I just want to know, like, we need to get into it. Oh, you have been on a TV show.
Oh, yeah. Well, back in college, I was an extra on Dawson's Creek. So,
Stop it. No, you weren't.
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, I met Michael Murray. And so, yeah, and Busy Phillips.
That is a great two truths and a lie. If you ever have to do that, that's a great one.
Yes.
Because people would be like, it is random, so you'd have to throw in another random one.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't, like, throw them off. That's incredible. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But this was,
so
like,
fun.
You're in the spotlight.
But I was, like, girl on the bench, you know, girl in the
door
club.
holder number 3.
Yeah, I don't even think they gave me credit for anything. They're just, like, the blonde college chick in the crowd, you know?
Yeah.
But the Next Level Chef opportunity came out of nowhere.
Okay, so it came to you, or did you apply?
Yes,
What happened?
I didn't even know. about the show.
Yeah.
Hi, I haven't watched cable in like, how old are my kids? 6 years. So I was unaware. And so I had a casting director reach out to me online on Instagram, send me a message. And I was like, delete. And she sent me another one. I'm like, scam alert. I'm very cautious. I'm a very cautious person when it comes to people.
Sure.
Because I used to be an open door.
Right.
And fool me once.
Yeah. Shame on you. Fool me twice.
Not
Strike
happening.
3.
Not happening. So I was like,
Michael Scott.
Trash.
Yeah.
And so then she sent me an email and she said,
Girl
hi,
was
I've
not
been
about to give up.
trying to get in touch with you and I really want you to give me a
I'm
call.
shocked
Let's
she
set
reached
up
out
some
3 times.
I know. And I'm like, thank you, Lindsay, for continuing to pursue
for
me
Lindsay.
because I have my walls up. And that came from a lot of insecurity as well, too, just to be defensive.
Yeah.
When you're defensive, like, why are you pushing back?
Right.
And so she said, let's just jump on a call. I just want to kind of tell you a little bit about what's going on. All right. So I get on a call with her and she's like overzealous, loves me, thinks I'm just the bomb.
She knows how to do her job.
And I was like, why does she like me so much? Like she doesn't know who I am. And she was like, I just see something very special in you. And I had her on speakerphone with my husband in the car because I'm like, you also need to hear this because
She thinks I'm special, babe.
Did you hear that? She said I was a star. She said I was pretty. Did you hear this? She wants me to be on a TV show. And so I'm like, I'm laughing.
Yeah.
I had to mute my phone because I'm laughing. I'm like, this is not real. This is not real. And so she was like, let's set up a Zoom, which is your casting tape. Yeah, right. Seeing the old school casting tapes of like standing in front of the white wall and telling, doing your bio and talking about yourself. And so we set that up and I was sitting on the bottom step at my house with my tripod and my phone and did an interview with her. And that was June, July last summer.
Okay.
And I didn't hear anything. And so I thought, well, I guess that was fun, interesting. Well, now I know what it's like to interview to be on a TV show. Fast forward to September, and I got a message from her that said, hey, can you talk to my boss in 5 minutes? And I was like, huh? Like,
I love how in that world you just live on their time schedule.
Well, and they're in LA, they're all in California.
Okay.
So time difference. I was cooking dinner for my little family at home. Yeah. And I was like, I'm sure.
They just got off their lunch break.
Yeah. And I walked outside. I'm like, hey, got to take a call from the casting director for Fox. And my husband's like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, watch the kids. And so, he was like, you've made it to the semifinalists. You're in the top 30. And we just need to check your availability.
Do you know how many people they reach out to?
Thousands. They just said there were thousands of applicants.
But are all of those, are some of those people applying to be on the show? Because you never applied.
No, so there's an application process. So most reality TV shows like that.
Like they're not making thousands of phone calls. People are applying,
but that's
they
also
saw
their
something
job
in you.
to recruit.
Yeah.
So they've got casting agents looking for
Girl,
people.
That's
there
amazing.
Are people submitting applications.
Yeah.
Because I downplayed it a lot because I didn't understand the magnitude of it. And now that I understand the magnitude, I'm like, holy.
Yeah.
Jeez, they picked me.
Called
it's
you.
like my Sally Fields moment of like, they liked me. They picked me. And so he was like, I just need to know if you're available to travel out of the country in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry, let me check my calendar. Sure. Okay. And he was like, they're filming in Ireland. And I was like,
do they always film there?
No, this was the first season. So season 3 was the first season that they filmed overseas.
Okay.
And because that part of the application process, like I had to tell him I had a passport and all that stuff. And so he was like, well, hang tight. I'm like, okay, we'll follow up with more questions. The next 2 weeks of my life were a complete blur. I was doing background checks. I had a background check with a private investigator. Not intimidating at all. They were very thorough. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to say this stuff, but very thorough. Yeah. I had to do a psychological exam.
And that's for any show of anything. They've got to make sure the people on there are vetted.
Yes. I did a psychological exam that was like a 2-hour test online. And I'm like, I don't know. I was nervous
Yeah.
to
Did
like
you have to take a lie
answer.
detector? Like that was like the lie detector test?
I think that was a gauging of your moral compass.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of
Sign
strange
me up.
questions.
I'm ready. I'm an open book. What do y'all want to
A
know?
lot of strange questions, and then they're like, then you had to do a telephone interview with a psychologist to make sure that you were not crazy and they didn't fly you overseas to like be in a kitchen with sharp knives with a bunch of people, because then I would think, oh, that's a liability.
Yeah. Yes.
Fire, knives,
Yes.
unstable people.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of culinary school. Either way. Yeah, so before I knew it, they were like, okay, you've made the top 24 and we're sending all your travel. A car will pick you up. You're flying to Ireland. We're putting you on a bus and we're taking you, like everything will be taken care of once you get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, cool. So what do I wear?
Wait,
I do.
These are the questions I have. Did you have to bring your own wardrobe?
Absolutely. We had to get our
they're
wardrobe
not doing that for you.
approved. No.
Are they doing hair and makeup?
No.
Okay.
They did touch-ups.
Okay.
They did touch-ups, but I did hair, makeup, picked out my outfit. They approved it. Now, they did not approve my rhinestone cowboy boots because they said it was something with lighting. And I was like,
oh, it could like make a sparkle or something.
Make a disco ball.
Yeah, of course. Why else would I wear them?
I was like, why? I'm like,
I'm the star. Lindsay said I was a star.
It's the kryptonite. That's what I told him. I was like, that's my kryptonite because the shiny lights will distract the other chefs.
Yeah.
So I packed up my life, and it was also the same week that school started. So no added pressure at all to get the kids started
Mommy
back.
has to go on a TV show.
Yeah.
Daddy will pack your lunch.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck. So I had a lot of anxiety moving into that.
And you just went by yourself?
By myself. And I was worried about leaving my kids, too, because they've not been without me. We've been together. They stayed home. We homeschool. Yeah. We are like a unit. And so I was really concerned about them not having me at home. Yeah. And they did amazing.
Yeah.
They did amazing. They didn't even they barely FaceTime me. And I'm like, all that worry. Yeah. And they were completely fine. Yeah. And so that also told me, like, you did your job as a mom to make them feel secure and safe in their routine and in their space to where I can step away and it's not going to fall apart.
Right.
And I think that's the hardest thing is moms feeling like I can step away and it's not going to fall apart.
Right.
Because we hold it together a lot most of the time.
So you're there, you're in Ireland, and
I made it to Ireland.
And what was it like? I mean, because you're actually preparing these meals, but there's camera crews everywhere. So
you don't know who everybody is. The first few days, you didn't know who anybody was. We had a lot of kind of trial and error, and it was like, okay, we're going to go, you're coming here, now you're going to take pictures. You're going to go here, and you're going to do interviews. And so they were just kind of moving us around all over the place, and we really didn't know what was going to happen from one day to the next. Yeah. We literally would get information about the following day the night before. I'm sorry. I'm used to being in charge of everybody's everything. Yes. And so I literally was just in my room like this. Like pacing. Okay, anybody
does anyone know what's happening?
Yeah. Any updates? Yeah. And they were like, we'll let you know.
We'll let you know.
And so that was very out of my comfort zone, not being in charge of anything. Yeah. I just had to show up. Yeah. And I've never done that in my life. I've never just showed up.
Yeah. Did you have time to like get to know the other contestants as well?
A little bit.
Have you formed any friendships with anyone from the show?
Yeah. So I'm really excited because next week I'm going to Nashville to see half of the cast. So I think there's 11 or 12 of us that are getting together. So we're doing an event, like a watch party, a live watch party with the cast. So that's going to be really fun.
That will be so
cool.
Yeah,
I've gotten some really valuable friendships out of the experience because we were like, our wellness. So we had a wellness coordinator that like told us what to do, where to be, how to do things. And he was like, you guys have an experience. You're trauma bonded for life. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that sounds so disturbing. And now I'm like, you were totally right. Because nobody will ever understand. You know, my friends were like, well, why don't you just do this? Or family, people that didn't experience, why don't you just do this? And I'm like, why don't you just do that?
Yeah, that's not how it works.
No. So we have that very unique bond of it going through that and the feels, the ups and the downs and the the pressure
Yeah.
and the unknowing. Like, we never knew what was really going on. So it was very unpredictable, which is not my typical.
Which is also kind of the premise of the entire show as well. Like,
absolutely. Like, what y'all saw was literally, we were finding out as you're watching it.
Yeah. Okay, so minor spoiler alert for anyone who has not watched. If you haven't, go watch it. But the moment when you're like, I'm stuck with these chicken livers.
Oh, God. Yes.
What was running through your mind?
Nightmare. A freaking nightmare. Like, that. Because I'm like, I was the quintessential, like, Southern girl, you know?
Yes.
And Gordon Ramsey says, oh, you're Southern, right? You know how to cook chicken livers? I said, no, sir. I do not.
I've never had chicken livers.
I've never had chicken livers. Born
I didn't
and
know
raised
that
in
was
North
a
Carolina.
thing.
Well, it's organ meat.
Yeah.
And it has a very distinct flavor that is not really universal in deliciousness. Can I say that? I don't know. I really just skirted around that, but it's not good. And at the end of the day, I cook chicken. We raise chickens. I love eggs, but I do not eat their livers. Yeah. So I genuinely just didn't even know what to do. But it was that platform grab is the key.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't get there in time, I was so laser focused on like this one spot because I thought I got 20 seconds. I don't have time to be looking around and deciding what I want. I was just like, well, I'm going to one spot and I'm going to grab it. Because you got all the other people there reaching over you. And
you could grab as many things as you could carry, right?
But then you got to use them all.
So
you can't willy-nilly just grab a bunch of stuff and be like, I'm going to make something out of this, and it's not a composed dish. So I was being probably a little too thoughtful about what I was picking up. And then, me and Summer, we grabbed the shrimp at the same time. And
Summer, we love you.
I love Summer. Oh, she's actually one of my best friends from the show. Yeah, so like we chat all the time. And we were just like, I'm like, I'm not letting go of this shrimp, girl. I know it because they kept saying, you got to have protein, got to have a protein.
Shrimp.
And I thought, if I let go of this shrimp, I don't have a protein and I'm automatically disqualified. And so I'm like, I'm taking the shrimp. And she was not letting go either. So I grabbed a handful. I had like 3 shrimp under my fingernails. I'm like, this is what we're doing. And grabbed some other crap and went back to my station and was like, I had like spaghetti.
Yeah. Because then on the show, he's like, you have to have a protein. And so you had to go back and get the chicken livers.
I had to. Yeah, he kept yelling. And I was like, okay, I guess these 4 shrimp are not enough.
I'd be like, there's 3 judges. Y'all can each have a shrimp.
And he was like, there's chicken livers left. And I thought, no. And I walked around and I saw them staring at me. And I'm like, oh, God.
Like,
they looked so disgusting. And I was like, damn it.
I just feel like that's difficult, though, because it's a difficult way to judge if you have food that already is not going to, and this is a subjective take, but like the steak is going to taste better than the chicken liver. So already you have an advantage.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So it's like, then you have to be able to like really just make a beautiful dish out of it.
You better finesse the hell out of that chicken liver and add some flavor.
A sentence you never thought you'd say.
Oh, I've said so many weird things in the last 6 months. I'm like,
have you cooked with chicken liver since?
Hell no.
Okay.
Do I plan to?
No. Okay.
There was part of me that's like, I need to redeem myself. So that was the, insecurities creeping up again because I did not cook in the way that I do.
Yeah.
In the 20 minutes that I had to cook on national TV.
Right.
So I was really hard on myself and unnecessarily tough on myself.
Well, it's not an accurate representation, like you said, of who you are in your
all.
kitchen. So you can't look at that and be like, oh, I would never want to eat what she cooks. Like, that's not
Never
who
have
you are
I
as
ever
a chef.
made fried chicken liver spaghetti.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody.
But if anyone could, it's you. And I would eat it. Well, I would eat the spaghetti part.
Yeah. And so, it was... It is such a crazy experience because, you got the time restraints. Yeah. You got the ingredient restraints. Mm-hmm. And then we were in the basement. Everybody started in the basement. So auditions were live this year. And I'm not talking just like you got a pan that's not flat, that's like whoppy jawed on the flame. Is my flame went out like 2 or 3 times. Like there's a lot that wasn't shown on the episode.
Yeah, sure. Wow.
But so my fire kept going out. And so I'm thinking I'm cooking and I'm like, wait a minute. My fire's out. So I'm having to restart.
Yeah.
The lights went out. So we're cooking in the dark.
That's right.
And ironically enough, like in the pro chef category, like everybody just kept going. We were not even phased. Like everybody.
That's right, because there were 3 categories.
Yeah, 3 categories. You had the social media chefs, the home chefs, and pro chefs.
Okay.
And so we all had to do the audition round together.
Okay.
And then once you got through the audition round, then they put everybody on teams and mixed everybody up together.
Got it.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I do have a culinary degree and I have a lot of experience, I say, as being a desk chef. So I always worked front of the house in restaurants. I've never worked back of the house, and I didn't have a desire to do that. Like that is not why I went to culinary school.
Right.
I knew it was hard.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the what I'm seeing and kind of as I'm watching the show unfold is a lot of the professional chefs that have that restaurant experience. Like one of the guys has a food truck. Another guy's opened several restaurants across the country.
Wow.
And like that is what they are good at.
Yeah.
They are used to working on the fly, thinking quick, getting it done and making it look good. And that was just a whole completely different experience that I didn't have. And so, yeah, I think that cooking competitions are certainly not out of my future wheelhouse, but at this time, yes, they were.
Yeah.
I never competed.
Yeah. And that was my next question is, has this kind of put like the TV show bug in you? Like, do you want to go on another show?
Absolutely. It was so crazy. It was so stressful. It was so weird. Like it was the best of the best feelings and then also the worst of the worst feelings.
The highest adrenaline rush.
Absolutely. Like it was very intense, and leading up to the show airing, my nerves were shot. Yeah. And it was more
because you also haven't seen yourself, so you don't know how they're going to portray you.
I had no idea how they were going to portray me, what they were going to take the pieces from the show that they were actually going to use.
Right.
And I did not talk to a lot of people about that because I didn't want to hear their feedback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it only takes 1 or 2 negative comments to get in your head. And I heard one, and one was enough.
Yep.
And I said, nope. I told my husband too, I said, we're not telling anybody. I'm not talking about this with anybody else because I don't want to open the door for anyone else's judgment or negativity on this experience that nobody else can compare to.
Yeah.
Like,
I love the way you did the launch on your social media with your photos and everything. I'm just like, guess what's coming. And then all your photos and all the content was exceptional. It was so good.
Oh, thanks.
So
I did that myself.
It was so good.
Thank you.
So if there was like one show that you could go on next, if you could pick, do you have one that you would love to go on?
You know, there's a new show that's coming out, and it's like a murder mystery cooking show thing. And I mean,
it's still cooking, but like a murder mystery.
I like to call myself Nancy Drew. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a really good investigator.
I love this.
I will find out. I'm very detail oriented, and it started with having a terrible relationship. I had the worst relationship that ruined my life for several years in my early 20s. And had I known who he was before I got too far into it. So single ladies, do your background checks.
To this day,
Public
I'm 31.
information.
To this day, this is probably TMI, but I don't even care because I care about my own safety. If I'm
Absolutely.
going on a date with somebody, I find out who they are, and I'll send it to my sister, and she is like the PI in the family.
Yes.
She looks up their records.
Absolutely.
Like, everything's public.
Absolutely. Yes.
You have to.
Marital records, because people will lie about being married too. You can get background, criminal investigation.
Yep.
Pay your $2 to get that app and find
I
out who
went
people
on a date
are.
with a guy who had been in jail and found that out online, and it's just you don't know a person until they either willingly tell you or you do the work and
most likely they're not going to offer up that information,
especially on a first date.
I found out after the fact that he had fraud and felons,
Oh no.
a rap sheet longer than I was
no.
tall, and I had no clue.
Well, thanks to your PI skills in that, you're now ready for this
heck
murder
yeah,
mystery
nothing getting
show.
by me. So I was like, God, I can Nancy Drew the heck out of that thing. So yeah, actually, I sent a message to my casting director friend. I was like, please tell me that you're casting for the show. She's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, ah. But that's kind of in my, competition is not out of, future choices. I now know what I have to bring to the table.
Yeah.
And
pun intended.
Legit. That's another one. But I'm a competitive person, but I'm not a mean-spirited person.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to shove somebody. I'm not going to, like, for me
it's not personal.
For me to tug a war with her was like me being as competitive as I was going to be. And then I let her have it. So maybe I'm not cut out for competition. I don't know.
You were so fun.
But I love the experience. I'll try anything once.
Yeah.
And then if it's good, I'll try it twice. And if it's real good, I'll just keep going with it.
Yeah.
But I never say never to any opportunities because I did not see this coming. I've not seen anything else that has transpired afterward. And it really has shown me that God has his hand on all of this because I'm not looking for it.
It's just happening.
It's happening.
That's the best.
It just keeps happening.
That's the
and
best.
I'm along for the ride. This is my say yes year because I've had so many walls up and I've created so many scenarios in my mind that have talked me out of putting myself out there, whether it was how I perceived that I looked or how I talked or what I brought to I wasn't good enough in any area. And now I'm like, oh, this is me. If it's not good enough, then don't pick me, you know?
And also everyone else is out there doing the exact same thing. Like we're all having those same questions too. So it's not like you're an inferior in any way.
Right.
We're all just out here doing the best we can.
Yeah, we are. And I think at the end of the day, it's like you do the best that you can. And if you truly believe that and you truly think you are doing your best, then there's nothing else that can get in the way because what's designed for you. And that's, I'm always community over competition. Yeah. And so maybe that was a hard part for me too, being on the show, is because I was looking forward to networking and getting to know everybody just as much as I was potentially could win the show.
Right.
Right. And so I kind of see the big picture. Yeah. In a lot of situations, which allows me to not hyper focus on one outcome. Yeah. Because I've learned the hard way, when you focus on one particular outcome and it doesn't happen, then you're disappointed.
All your eggs are in that one basket.
Yeah. So, my job is to lessen my opportunities of disappointment by not putting it all in someone else's hands. Yeah. I own it, and I'm going to distribute my energies where I feel are going to be most beneficial to me and my family. And if it works out, amazing. And if it doesn't, it's not meant for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so
God's
good.
calling on your life. I saw this, and my therapist told me God's calling on your life was not a conference call. He didn't call your mama. Your mama probably knows better than anyone else, but he didn't call your best friend. He didn't call your boss. He didn't call your neighbor to say, do you think Jenny's qualified to do this? Do you think she'd be good at this? No, it's just you. Yeah. And so that owning that and knowing who you are and having your self-worth aligned is when you just take off.
Yeah. Well, it's been so much fun watching you just
do
that, and you're involved with so many things. Yes, but it's just been fun. I feel like I see that free-spiritedness in you. I don't feel like I didn't see it before. I just really see it now.
Oh, it's unlocked.
I'm
unhinged.
And I love it. I think we're just at the beginning of your TV journey. And I'm here for it. So I'm excited. Well, there have been so many things in this conversation that I have loved. Is there anything else that we need to talk about before I ask you our final question?
I mean, I feel like I've shoved it all in a nutshell the best I could. I've had a really wild up and down life. And that's the thing, is there is no blueprint. Yeah. Nope. For our life, and it's okay to change anything in your life, because the only thing that stays consistent is change. And
Oof.
so you just have to be able to roll with it. I didn't always used to be so, able to roll with the punches. I was very much like, has to be this way.
Yeah.
And I am way more happy. I have a lot more joy in my life, allowing things to just kind of happen the way that God has planned for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going with it right now.
Yeah. We love to see you go with it. That's
I'm just
good.
going with it.
Well, so many things of what you said I absolutely love. And I would love to know now, what is going on in life? I mean, lots of things that you're loving, but is there something happening in life that maybe has nothing to do with cooking or resin that you are just really loving right now?
I am loving the peace that I have found.
Okay.
And this is when I get all emotional.
We love it.
Because I didn't allow myself to have that inner peace because I struggled with knowing who I was. And amazing people in my life that are my community now that have helped me to chip away at all the stories that I told myself, to really get down to the root of it. And now I'm like, I've completely accepted who I am, how I am. I'm loud, I'm flashy, I'm inappropriate. Sometimes I'm unhinged. Like, it is what it is. Like, and I'm completely at peace with that. Yeah. And now I can be that everywhere I go, to every person I meet. And if they don't like it, I'm so secure in the fact that if they're not comfortable with my shine, then they can get a new pair of shades or keep it going. Like, I'm not.
They can go find less.
Thank you. If I'm too much, go find less. Yeah. That applies to everybody.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the most beautiful answer from another person, myself, who has been called several times too much, too loud, too whatever. There's room for us, and there's a reason we're here, and the world needs us. And so it's like, all right, well, we just got to get out there. And if it's too much, they can go find less.
And once we accept that we are, heck, let's be too much.
That's right. Some people aren't enough, and we have to overcompensate.
I know. Don't make me overcompensate. Like, what is that? I don't know how to be chalant because I've always, or I don't know how to be nonchalant. And it's like, well, I let people like kind of put me in a box or say, okay, well, we just want you like here. Or no, you don't want to do that. I allow people to tell me what I wanted to do with my life. Yeah,
it's like, actually, I think I know what I want or don't want to do.
And I was like, okay, you're right. And then I was unhappy. And I'm like, okay, you're wrong.
Yeah.
So, I 100% being authentically yourself is what's going to bring you that inner peace, that satisfaction in life of not given an F. Like, like, just be unapologetic about being who you are.
Life's too short to be anyone else.
It really is. Don't wait till you're 41 to decide to do that for yourself, The sooner the better.
Learning it now.
Yes.
Well, this has been so much fun, Jennie. Thank you so much for just, like, coming over and chatting with me and sharing your story. And I am going to continue cheering you on. And whatever, if you wake up tomorrow and decide to start something new, I'm going to be like, let's go.
Happen.
Here it goes. So
it could happen.
I'm here for it. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode, friends. If you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share the love with your friends and family. Remember, life is all about the stories we create and share, so let's keep spreading inspiration and positivity. See you next week.